Joining square and round metal tubing can be a real headache for any fabricator because the different profiles do not naturally fit together. If you try to place a square tube directly onto a round one, you will find massive gaps that make a strong weld nearly impossible to achieve. To get a professional and seamless joint, you can use this precise layout technique. Start by wrapping a clean piece of paper around the round tube to find its exact circumference. Once you have that measurement, lay the paper flat and divide the total length into equal sections that correspond to the sides of your tubing. Use a straight edge to draw vertical lines across the paper, creating a grid that represents the surface of the tube. Within each section, mark the midpoint and draw diagonal lines from the top corners down to the center. This creates a series of uniform triangles that will serve as your cutting template. Secure the paper back onto the round tube with some tape and carefully mark the peak and base of each triangle directly onto the metal. For better accuracy, use a small piece of angle iron as a straight edge to draw vertical lines down the length of the tube from each point. Now you are ready to cut. Use an angle grinder with a thin cutoff wheel to slowly follow your diagonal markings and remove the triangular wedges of metal. Be sure to wear proper safety gear as the sparks will fly during this process. After the round tube is prepped, move on to the square tubing. Find the exact center of each flat face and mark it clearly. Draw your diagonal lines from the outer corners of the square tube toward that center mark to form matching triangles. Carefully cut these out with your grinder and use a pair of pliers to snap off the remaining metal shards. When you bring the pieces together, they should now slide into one another with a perfect interlocking fit. This precise method eliminates large gaps and provides a solid foundation for a clean and structural weld that looks like it was made in a professional shop.
Creating a three-way corner joint with angle iron might look complicated, but with a few simple measurements, you can get a perfect fit every time. Start by aligning two identical pieces of angle iron side by side. Mark the width of the flange on the bottom piece and use a combination square to draw a straight line across both sections. Find the corner and draw a 45-degree diagonal line toward the outer edge. For the vertical piece, draw another straight line, matching the width of the iron. Clearly mark the sections you need to remove so you do not make a mistake. Use an angle grinder with a cutoff wheel to carefully slice through the metal, following your layout lines precisely. Once the excess metal is removed, the pieces should slot together perfectly to form a neat three-way corner. Secure the assembly with a few strong tack welds at each junction to hold everything in place. Finally, use your combination square to ensure the joint is perfectly square before finishing the weld. This technique results in a rock-solid corner that is both structural and professional in appearance.